It's an easy go-to meal in a lot of homes. Frozen pizza from the grocery store. You probably have your favorite, but is there one that's healthier and tastier?
A food scientist just leaked internal documents ranking frozen pizzas by what he calls their regret index. The #1 brand in America scored worse than gas station pizza. But here's what's crazy. The 3 safest options cost less than the toxic ones. Nobody's talking about why. You know what's scarier than finding a spider in your shoe? Reading the back of a Totino's Party pizza box. This little square of regret costs about $1.50. Sounds like a steal, right? Well, your arteries might disagree. One pizza packs over 1,500 milligrams of sodium. That's 65% of everything you should eat in an entire day. In one sitting. Before you've even thought about dinner. But here's where it gets weird. That cheese on top? It's not actually cheese. Totino's uses something called imitation mozzarella, made with modified food starch and sodium phosphate. Basically, it's science cosplaying as dairy. The crust contains partially hydrogenated oils. The FDA has directly linked these trans fats to heart disease. And the pepperoni? Loaded with BHA and BHT, preservatives that several European countries have said no thanks to. For all those chemicals, you get a whopping 10 grams of protein from 760 calories. You'd get more nutrition licking a vitamin bottle. And Totino's isn't even the worst offender. DiGiorno takes things to another level entirely. DiGiorno loves bragging about that "it's not delivery" slogan. Cute. But here's what they don't tell you. Their Supreme Rising Crust pizza contains 73 separate ingredients. 73! My grandmother made pizza with 5: flour, water, yeast, tomatoes, cheese. Done. And that fancy rising crust technology? It's not actual yeast doing the work. It's chemical leavening agents creating gas bubbles. Basically, your pizza is burping chemicals to look fluffy. Now here's where it gets sneaky. The nutrition label says 1 serving is 1/6 of a pizza. Who eats 1/6? Nobody. Studies show most adults eat 1/3 to half. So double every number you see on that box. The meat toppings contain sodium nitrite. Sounds harmless, right? The World Health Organization classified it as a Group 1 carcinogen. Same category as tobacco. Same category as asbestos. On your pepperoni. Oh, and 8 grams of saturated fat per tiny serving. That's 40% of your daily limit before lunch. But wait until you hear what Red Baron puts in their crust. Red Baron calls itself America's favorite pizza. Know what else America loves? Processed junk disguised as real food. Let's start with the meat toppings. Some contain mechanically separated chicken. That's a fancy term for forcing bones through metal sieves until you get a pink paste. Appetizing, right? But here's what really got me. High fructose corn syrup shows up in both the crust and the sauce. Why is there sugar in my pepperoni pizza? This isn't dessert. And that cheese blend contains cellulose powder. That's wood pulp. Literally ground up trees to prevent clumping and add fake volume. Your cheese is part lumber. The safety record isn't great either. Multiple FDA recalls over the past decade for E. coli and listeria contamination. Not exactly confidence-inspiring. Eat one complete 4-cheese pizza and you've consumed 2,100 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly your entire day's worth. Gone. In one sitting. The parent company, Schwann's, prioritizes shelf stability over your health. Preservatives come first. Nutrition comes, well, maybe never. Speaking of misleading names, wait until you hear about Tombstone. Tombstone. Even the name sounds like a warning label. Here's what's actually inside. TBHQ. That's a petroleum-derived preservative the FDA had to put strict limits on because of toxicity concerns. We're talking 0.02% maximum allowed in oils. Why? Because more than that becomes genuinely dangerous. Now flip that box over and check the sauce ingredients. Tomato paste shows up fourth. Fourth, after water, enriched flour, and cheese blend. You're basically eating tomato-flavored suggestion at that point. One pepperoni pizza hits you with 14 grams of saturated fat. That's 70% of your daily limit. Before breakfast is even cold. And that stone-baked taste they advertise? Complete fiction. These pizzas never touch actual stone. They're flash-frozen in industrial facilities. The whole stone-baked thing is just marketing poetry. But wait, there's more concerning news. Sodium aluminum phosphate lurks in every slice. Some researchers worry about aluminum building up in brain tissue over time. Nestlé owns this brand, the same company that's faced lawsuits over misleading health claims elsewhere. Speaking of thin promises, a few months ago I had no idea what a health ring even was until my fiancé got me one, and I have to say, I'm shocked this isn't a widely known and used product. It tracks my stress levels, and what I found out is that some supplements made my stress score spike, while others actually helped bring it down. I adjusted a few things based on that, and honestly, I feel 10 years younger. My wife mainly uses it to track her menstrual cycles, and she is obsessed with her sleep quality score. I noticed they are currently running a limited 69% discount, but I don't know how long it will last. It's currently only $60, and it's clear this one is the best bang for your buck, with other health rings priced around $350 with less functions. They managed to price it this low because they cut out the middleman like Amazon, Walmart, etc., who drive up the price and take a big margin, ending up with the customer paying 3 to 5 times more. If you are on TV, you can check it out yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone camera or clicking the first link in the description of this video. Jack's Pizza is even worse. Jack's original thin crust sounds innocent enough. Thin crust, less carbs, healthier choice, right? Wrong. Here's where it gets weird. Several Jack's varieties don't actually list cheese on the package. They list flavored pizza topping. That's not marketing speak. That's a legal requirement. The FDA won't let them call it cheese because it isn't. You're eating something cheese-adjacent. And the crust contains L-cysteine. Now, I had to look this one up. It's an amino acid used to condition dough. Where does it come from? Duck feathers. Sometimes human hair. I wish I was joking. The protein situation is equally depressing. 380 calories gets you a measly 6 grams of protein. You'd get more nutrition from a glass of milk and a handful of crackers. But here's what really bothers me. Jack's positions itself as the budget-friendly option, yet ounce for ounce, making simple flatbread at home costs less and doesn't require ingredients harvested from waterfowl. Speaking of budget brands hiding secrets, wait until you hear about Stouffer's. Stouffer's French bread pizza has been sitting in freezer aisles since 1974. 50 years. And somehow, they never got the memo that nutrition science moved forward. Let's start with what's actually in that bread base. Azotocarbonamide. It's a dough conditioner that makes the bread fluffy and soft. Know what else it makes fluffy? Yoga mats, shoe rubber. Appetizing, right? The cheese situation isn't much better. Sodium citrate, sodium phosphate. These emulsifiers transform real dairy into something that melts uniformly but tastes like a science experiment. Here's the kicker. One deluxe French bread pizza piece contains 900 milligrams of sodium. Most people eat 2 pieces. That's already over your daily limit before lunch. And the pepperoni? It gets its red color from oleoresin of paprika, not from being actual quality meat, just artificial coloring making old meat look fresh. My grandmother used to serve these at bridge night. Bless her heart, she didn't know better. But the next brand? It was literally designed for school cafeterias. Celeste Pizza, for one, sounds personal. Cozy, even. A little pizza just for you. But here's what you're really getting. 1,010 milligrams of sodium packed into something smaller than a paperback book. That's almost half your daily limit before you've even had lunch. The crust contains mono and diglycerides. These emulsifiers help everything blend smoothly, but some research suggests they might irritate your gut lining over time. Not exactly the kind of one-on-one time you wanted with your food. And the cheese, it's not quite cheese. They use something called enzyme-modified cheese, which means they've added lipases to artificially break down the milk fats. It's cheese that's been chemically convinced to taste cheesier. Here's the real kicker. 47 grams of refined carbohydrates, 11 grams of protein. You're basically eating a dinner roll with orange stuff on top. The sauce lists natural flavors, which legally can mean hundreds of different compounds. Natural doesn't mean simple. Speaking of institutional quality, the next brand literally supplies school cafeterias. Tony's Crispy Crust. You've seen it. Maybe you've eaten it. And somewhere in the back of your mind, it tasted familiar. That's because Tony's is literally the same manufacturer that supplies public school cafeterias across America. Same factory, same recipes, same institutional-grade ingredients. They just slapped a retail label on it and called it dinner. The pepperoni? It's not really pepperoni. It's a mechanically separated blend of pork and chicken smooshed together. A meat smoothie, if you will. Here's where the math gets sneaky. The label claims 0 trans fat per serving. But eat the whole pizza, which most people do, and you're actually consuming 3.5 grams of trans fat. Legal loophole. Lovely. The cheese contains natamycin. That's an antibiotic antifungal agent. Sounds like something you'd spray on your shower tiles, not eat for dinner. And sodium? One complete Tony's pizza pack's 1,800 milligrams. That's roughly 8 servings of potato chips worth of salt. But if you think Tony's is bad, wait until you see what's lurking in those rectangular slices coming up next. Elio's Pizza. The rectangular slices that look like they escaped from a geometry textbook. Here's what bothers me. Traditional pizza dough needs 4 ingredients: flour, water, yeast, salt. That's it. Elio's crust? 14 ingredients. 14! They added 10 extra things to make bread worse. The sauce tells its own sad story. Instead of cooking tomatoes down naturally, they thicken it with xanthan gum and cornstarch. It's basically tomato-flavored paste pretending to be Italian. Now let's talk nutrition. One 3-slice serving gives you 57 grams of carbohydrates, but only 12 grams of protein. You'd get similar numbers eating plain white bread with ketchup. And here's where nostalgia becomes a trap. Adults buy Elio's because they ate it as kids in the 80s. But since Dr. Oetker acquired the brand in 2017, complaints have piled up. Smaller portions, thinner toppings, higher prices. Oh, and the dough contains calcium sulfate. You might know it better as plaster of Paris. The stuff they make casts from. But Elio's isn't even the worst budget option. Great value is Walmart's answer to the question nobody asked. How cheap can pizza get before it stops being food? 83 ingredients. Let that sink in. This one pizza contains more components than most chemistry sets. The cheese blend actually lists pizza cheese as an ingredient, which itself contains modified food starch, sodium caseinate, and mysterious flavoring. It's like those Russian nesting dolls, except each layer is another processed nightmare. Here's what really bothers me. The supplier for Great Value Pizza has received FDA warning letters about facility cleanliness, not exactly the gold standard you want for your Tuesday night dinner. And the sodium? One complete pizza delivers 4,200 milligrams. That's nearly double what adults over 50 should consume in an entire day. In one sitting. The secret to that impossibly low price tag? Sourcing the cheapest commodity ingredients from wherever they're cheapest globally. Quality isn't even in the conversation. But wait, those 10 disasters aren't the whole story. Because 3 frozen pizzas actually deserve space in your freezer. Finally, some good news. Newman's own Thin and Crispy proves that a movie star can actually make decent food. Paul Newman wasn't just a pretty face in Hollywood. The man knew what belonged in pizza. Real mozzarella. Actual cheese from actual milk. Not pizza cheese, or cheese product, or whatever laboratory creation the other brands are pushing. The ingredient list? Under 25 items. Compare that to the 83-ingredient nightmare we just talked about with Great Value. It's like comparing a handwritten letter to a government tax form. Here's what makes Newman's different, though. The company donates 100% of profits to charity. Over $600 million since 1982. So your pizza purchase actually helps sick kids instead of just making shareholders richer. The crust uses olive oil and sea salt. No petroleum-derived preservatives. No yoga mat chemicals. Sodium levels sit around 650 milligrams per serving. That's nearly 300 milligrams lower than most competitors. But Newman's isn't alone in the actually good category. Amy's Kitchen has been doing something radical since 1987. They've been making frozen food with ingredients you can actually pronounce. Every single item is USDA certified organic. That means no synthetic pesticides, no GMOs, no artificial fertilizers anywhere in their supply chain. The cheese? It comes from cows that never saw an RBGH growth hormone. My doctor would actually approve of this one. Here's what shocked me. Their pizzas contain 15 to 20 ingredients on average. That's it. And they're all things you could find at a regular grocery store. Flour, tomatoes, olive oil, real mozzarella. Revolutionary stuff, apparently. The family has owned this company for almost 40 years now. No shareholders screaming for cheaper ingredients. No cost-cutting executives ruining the recipe. Just good food that happens to be frozen. And the sodium? We're talking 480 to 580 milligrams per serving. That's nearly half of what conventional brands pack in. But Amy's isn't the only clean option in that freezer aisle. There's one more brand that took a completely different approach to healthy pizza. Now, here's where things get interesting for those of us watching our carbs. Cauliflower figured out something clever. Take cauliflower, mix it with rice flour, and suddenly you've got a crust with 45% fewer carbohydrates than regular pizza dough. My doctor actually recommended this one. I thought he was joking. He wasn't. Each serving clocks in around 300 calories with 14 grams of protein. That ratio? One of the best you'll find in any freezer aisle. And the sugar stays between 5 and 6 grams, roughly half what you'd get from brands sneaking corn syrup into everything. The founder started this company because her kids had celiac disease. Real motivation beats corporate profit goals every single time. But here's what matters most. The cheese is actual mozzarella. The vegetables are actual vegetables. Revolutionary concept, apparently. You can grab it at Costco, Target, or pretty much any major grocery store. No special health food trip required. Sometimes the healthiest option is also the most convenient. Who knew frozen pizza could actually work for us?